Lightning flashed as I stood in the pouring rain, staring at my mom's grave, heart pounding until I spotted her in a hoodie across the street, smiling. My scream caught in my throat, and my knees buckled. Was I hallucinating? How could she be alive when I had just buried her 2 weeks ago? I ran across the street, yelling her name, but the figure vanished into a crowd of people. My head spun. That smile was unmistakable. She was really alive. Back home, I ripped open drawers, photo albums, and letters, desperate for answers. Something was off. Her phone had new messages after her death. I checked her old laptop, and it wasn't password protected. There were search histories about faking deaths legally and how to disappear without a trace. My hands trembled. Flashbacks of her weird behavior months before she died flooded back. Secret phone calls, hushed arguments, whispering when I entered the room. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I peeked out the window and saw a woman in a black coat. She looked like my mom's twin. Terrified but curious, I opened the door slightly. "Is your name Noah?" the woman asked, her voice low and familiar. I nodded slowly, afraid to blink. She handed me an envelope and walked away without another word. I tore it open. Inside was a note. "This isn't over. Meet me where it all began." I stared at the message. Where it all began? The old lake house. That's where she taught me how to swim and where we had our last family trip. I packed a bag, grabbed my dad's old car keys, and drove through the night. My brain spun with a million theories, none of them comforting. When I reached the lake house, it was quiet, just like I remembered, but the front door was slightly open, creaking like a haunted house movie. I stepped inside. Dust covered everything. Then I saw something new, a photo of me taped to the wall with the words "You had to learn" scribbled over it. My stomach dropped. What lesson was she trying to teach me by faking her death? And why now, after everything we had already been through? I heard footsteps upstairs and froze. Each creak sent chills down my spine. I grabbed a rusty poker from the fireplace and crept slowly up the stairs. A shadow darted into my old bedroom. I pushed the door open, heart in my throat, and there she was. My mom, alive, calm, like nothing happened. She smiled faintly. "Hi, Noah." I dropped the poker. My chest felt like it would explode. "You're alive? You faked your death? Why?" She gestured for me to sit. "I know you're angry," she said gently. "But if I didn't do it, you never would have changed." "Changed?" I shouted. "You died, Mom. I cried at your funeral. I can't sleep. I can't eat. What kind of mother does this to her son?" She sighed deeply and pulled out a small box from under the bed. "This is everything I found: drugs, stolen phones, your secret accounts." You were spiraling. My face went pale. She knew. Everything I had hidden for years, my lies, parties, sneaking out, dealing online, it was all exposed. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "You were killing yourself slowly," she said, "and I tried everything. Therapy, grounding, talking. Nothing worked. I needed something drastic. I needed you to feel loss." Tears burned in my eyes. "So your solution was to die?" My voice cracked. "You thought breaking me would fix me?" "I thought shocking you would wake you up," she whispered. "I hired a team. Therapist, lawyer, even the coroner was part of it. It was all staged." I staggered back. "So everyone lied?" "Dad, the cops, the funeral home, everyone." She nodded. "Your dad agreed. He left to protect you from what you'd become." I was shaking. My knees buckled, and I sank to the floor. My whole life felt like a movie, and suddenly I didn't know who I was. "I know you hate me," she said softly. "But tell me, Noah, did you stop?" Her eyes searched mine. "Did you change?" I blinked. She was right. After her death, I had quit everything, cut all toxic friends, deleted every bad app, and even joined a grief group. I changed, I admitted, my voice hollow. "But not because I wanted to. Because I was broken." She looked sad. "Sometimes that's the only way." A storm rumbled outside. My thoughts raced. If I told the world she was alive, she could go to prison. If I kept it secret, I was complicit. Was it worth it? I asked. "Lying to your son, traumatizing me, faking your death, just to wake me up?" She looked away, eyes glassy. I don't know. Then what now? I whispered. You stay here forever? Hide from everyone? Or what, fake your death again if I mess up? She looked exhausted. No, Noah. This is the end. She handed me a flash drive. Everything's on here, proof of the plan, the people involved, even the legal waivers. I made sure no one could go to jail. I held it like it was a bomb. My entire life's trauma, packed into a memory stick. Why give this to me? I asked. Because now you have the power to decide, she said. Tell the world or keep the secret. Either way, your life is your own now. I looked at the lake through the window. It was where I almost drowned once and she'd saved me. Now she saved me again, in the most twisted way. I stood at the window for a long time, staring at the lake, wondering how someone could love you so much they'd hurt you just to save you. My mom sat across the room, nervously twisting her fingers. You can hate me, Noah, she whispered, but I couldn't watch you destroy yourself anymore. I stayed silent. My heart was heavy, but my mind kept flipping back to the funeral, the screams, the emptiness. How do you forgive someone for faking their death? She got up, walked to the kitchen, and started making tea like this was just another weekend visit, not a psychological horror movie. I explored the house while she brewed tea. Everything was the same except the basement door, which was locked tight. What's in there? I asked. She froze. Just old storage, she said too quickly. My gut told me she was lying, but I let it slide. For now. She handed me a cup of tea and watched me drink, like she was scared I'd throw it in her face. But I didn't. I just sipped. I stayed close, she confessed. I saw your grief. I wanted to tell you every day, but I had to wait until you were really different. I clenched my fists. You think trauma makes someone better? She looked down. It did for you. I hated that she was right. Are you ever going back? I asked. To the world? She shook her head. There's nothing there for me anymore. Except you. I didn't know what I felt: rage, confusion, love, all of it at once. I had questions, but the biggest one was, who else knew? I texted my dad secretly while she was in the shower. She's alive. I saw her. No reply. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. She walked out in a robe and caught me with the phone. Did you tell anyone? She asked, eyes sharp. Just Dad, I replied. Her face darkened. He's not who you think he is anymore, Noah. My blood ran cold. What did she mean? What did he do? She looked away. You'll see. Just wait. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. I dreamed of graves and screaming and her laughing face. In the morning, I checked my phone. Still no response from Dad, but there was a weird message from an unknown number. You shouldn't have found her. I stared at it for a full minute. Who else knew she was alive? And why were they warning me? I showed her the message. Her face turned white. It's starting, she muttered. What's starting? I yelled. Tell me. She walked away instead, locking herself in the basement. I pounded on the door. Open up, I screamed. No answer. I grabbed a hammer from the shed and broke the lock. The door creaked open, revealing a staircase into darkness. I turned on my phone flashlight and stepped down slowly. The air was cold and musty. Then I saw boxes of surveillance photos. Of me. Pictures of me at school, crying at her grave, even sleeping in my room. What the hell is this? I whispered. She was spying on me. I heard movement behind me. She was at the top of the stairs. I had to make sure you stayed on the right path, she said. You were watching me like a stalker. I shouted. You said you wanted me to change, not control every second of my life. I wasn't alone, she said quietly. Others were involved. A group of us mothers trying to save our kids from ruin. I stared. What are you talking about? She came down and opened another box, newspaper clippings about teens overdosing, going missing, ending up in jail. We created a program, Underground. Extreme intervention. My head was spinning. You mean there are more kids whose parents faked their deaths? She nodded. Not just faked. Some were kidnapped. It worked. My skin crawled. That's not saving. That's torture. She looked hurt. You're alive, aren't you? clean, focused, stronger? I backed away. This is insane. She begged me to understand, but I was already running out of the house, the flash drive clutched in my hand. I had to get help. I jumped into Dad's old car, tires screeching on gravel as I sped away from the lake house, trying to call him again but still no answer. My hands were shaking as I drove. That flash drive felt like it weighed 100 pounds. It held proof of a secret society of fake deaths. Halfway home, I noticed a black SUV tailing me. It didn't pass me, didn't slow down. My heart pounded. I had seen that exact car parked near Mom's house. I swerved onto a side road, cutting through the woods, trying to lose them. But the SUV followed, matching my every turn like they knew where I'd go. I floored the gas and made a sharp right, crashing through bushes. I hid behind an abandoned barn and turned off the engine. Silence. I held my breath. 10 minutes passed. No sound. No headlights. I slowly opened the door and crept outside, holding the flash drive tight like it was life or death. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my shoulder. I screamed and turned, ready to punch, but it was my dad. His face was pale. Get in the car. Now. We jumped into his car, and he locked the doors. Where's Mom? He asked sharply. I hesitated. She's alive, I said. And she's not the only one. He didn't even flinch. I know, he said grimly. And that's the problem. I stared at him, stunned. Wait, you knew? He nodded. I helped build it. What do you mean, build it? I shouted. He took a sharp breath. The program. It started with 3 families, but it grew. Too big. He pulled into a warehouse lot and turned off the engine. I left when it became something else, manipulative, cruel. But your mom, she believed in it. Inside the warehouse, he opened a locked door, revealing walls covered in maps, files, timelines like some kind of war room. At the center, my face. You were one of the test cases, he said softly. The program wanted to see if a fake death could fix a broken teen life. My jaw dropped. So I was an experiment? I shouted. Like a lab rat? He nodded, ashamed. But you weren't supposed to find out like this. I backed away, feeling sick. Who else is in this program? He opened a cabinet full of photos, kids. Dozens of them. Some are still being watched. I saw familiar faces, my old friend Jake, who moved away suddenly. Lily, who dropped out after her dad died mysteriously. They were all part of this? My dad nodded. They were slipping. Parents got desperate. Some kids were saved. Others didn't make it. He paused. You were one of the lucky ones. I don't feel lucky, I whispered. I feel used. He handed me a burner phone. Someone's going to contact you. Say nothing. Just listen and follow. I took the phone and left. That night, I slept in my car behind an abandoned diner, afraid to go home. Afraid of my own parents. The next morning, the burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. A calm female voice said, Noah, you've seen too much. It's time to choose a side. I froze. Who are you? I asked. I'm one of the mothers, she said. We're not villains. We're saviors. But you have power now. Be smart. She hung up. I stared at the phone, heartbeat racing. They were watching me, listening. Maybe they always had been. I threw the phone into the trash. I drove to my best friend Mason's house. I hadn't spoken to him since Mom died. I needed someone normal, someone real to keep me grounded. He was shocked to see me. Dude, you look like you've seen a ghost, he joked. Funny, I said, because I kind of did. We talked for hours in his garage. I told him everything about Mom, the program, the flash drive. His face went pale. This sounds like a Netflix thriller. I wish it was, I muttered. But it's my life now. He looked around nervously. You shouldn't have told me. Now I'm in danger too. I promised to protect him, but deep down, I wasn't sure I could. These people fake deaths for a living. What else were they capable of? Mason convinced me to go to the media. They'll expose the program, shut it down, make them pay, but I didn't know who I could trust. That night, I sent an anonymous email to a local journalist with 3 photos from the flash drive. Within hours, I got a reply. Let's meet. We agreed on a public spot, a library. I showed up early, flash drive hidden in my backpack, eyes scanning for anything suspicious. A woman in her 30s approached, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap. "You, Noah?" she whispered. I nodded. "You're risking everything," she said. "Let's talk inside." We sat at a corner table, whispering. I handed her the flash drive. Her hands shook as she plugged it into her laptop. Oh my God. She scrolled through the files, videos of parents staging funerals, fake therapists coaching teens, hidden camera footage of breakdowns. "This is massive," she said. Like a cult. I told her about the SUV, the phone call, the warning. She shut her laptop. "You need protection. I'm calling a friend at the FBI." I nearly choked. "The FBI?" She nodded. "If even half this is real, it's beyond journalism. It's criminal." I had no idea things were about to explode. We left the library from separate exits, just in case we were being followed. I checked over my shoulder constantly, heart racing, eyes scanning every shadow. That night, I slept in Mason's basement. He set up alarms on the windows, like we were in some spy movie. Except this was real. The next morning, I woke up to sirens outside. Mason's mom shouted down the stairs, "Noah, someone's here for you." My blood turned cold. "Who?" I asked. Two men in suits were waiting. "Noah Collins?" One said. "We need you to come with us. It's about your mother." I didn't move. Mason came to my side. "He's not going anywhere without a warrant," he said bravely. The agents looked annoyed. "We're with Federal Protective Services, not police." My mind was spinning. "Protective?" I asked. "Protect me from what?" One agent leaned in. "From the people your mother used to work with. They know you're leaking. They flashed real badges." I followed them outside, but I kept my phone in my hand, recording just in case. You never know who's really on your side. They drove me to a government building on the edge of the city. No signs, no windows, just a concrete block surrounded by cameras. It felt like prison. Inside, a woman with icy eyes greeted me. "We've been monitoring this group for years," she said. "You just gave us the smoking gun." She showed me a wall of screens, all tracking members of the parent program, photos of moms and dads who had fake deaths, staged kidnappings, or worse. I spotted my mom on one screen, sitting at the lake house, drinking tea. "We found her days ago," the agent said. "We were waiting for you." I froze. "You're going to arrest her?" I asked. The woman looked conflicted. "We want her to cooperate. But if not, yes, she'll be charged." Part of me wanted justice. The other part wanted my mom. The woman looked at me. "Will you talk to her? Get her to come in?" I nodded slowly. "If I do, promise me you'll keep her safe," she agreed. "As long as she doesn't run." They gave me a secure phone. That night, I called my mom. "It's me," I said. "They know. They have everything. You need to come in before it's too late." There was silence. Then she whispered, "You did this?" Her voice cracked. "After everything I did for you." I sighed. "You broke me, Mom. I saved you," she said. "But you betrayed me." I bit my lip. "Maybe. But maybe you betrayed me first." The line went dead. 2 hours later, the feds picked up movement at the lake house. She was packing to leave. They moved in fast, but she was already gone. I watched the footage in disbelief. She had slipped out the back into the woods. Just like before. "She's always been one step ahead," I muttered. "We'll find her," the agent said. "But if she runs too far, we stop protecting her. She becomes a fugitive." That word crushed me. Fugitive. I sat alone in the interview room for an hour, thinking about the kid I used to be and the kid I could have died being. Suddenly, the burner phone they gave me buzzed. It was her. A single text. "I'm sorry. You'll understand someday." I stared at it, heartbroken. The agents traced the signal. "She's heading west," one of them said. "Probably to the desert. There's a safe house network there." I begged to go too. They refused. "You're the bait now," they said. "She might come back for you." That thought chilled me more than anything. Come back for me. Or for revenge. I went back to Mason's, but I didn't feel safe. I felt like a target. Every sound outside made me flinch. My childhood was completely gone. Mason tried to keep things normal: video games, snacks, dumb jokes. But I couldn't laugh anymore. I had lived 1,000 lives in a few weeks. Then, one morning, Mason didn't show up for school. He wasn't answering texts either. I biked to his house. It was empty. The doors were wide open. My stomach dropped. I ran inside, calling his name. His phone was on the floor, screen cracked. On the wall, someone had written, "Talk, and he's gone." I called the feds immediately. They swept the house, but there were no fingerprints, no clues. "They've taken him," I whispered. Because of me, the woman agent grabbed my shoulders. "This is why we warned you. These people will do anything to protect their secret, even hurt your friends." I broke down. "Then what now? What do I do?" She looked me dead in the eyes. "You finish this. Burn the whole program to the ground." I stared at the blank screen in front of me. The agents wanted me to record a message, something personal, something that might force my mom out. I hit record and spoke directly to the camera. "Mom, I don't hate you, but they've taken Mason. This has to end. Please, turn yourself in." After I finished, the agent uploaded the video to a private channel linked to burner devices known to the group. It was our only real shot at baiting her. 2 days passed. Nothing. The silence made it worse. I was being homeschooled remotely now, under surveillance, as if I were a national security threat. One night, while I was pacing the house, a small envelope was slid under the door. I grabbed it and opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a single Polaroid photo of Mason. He looked scared, tied to a chair. On the back, it read, "Stop hunting us or he dies." I showed the feds immediately. Their mood shifted from calm to code red. "They're escalating," the lead agent said. "And now, we go on the offensive." They moved me to a secure, safe house, multiple cameras, fingerprint locks, armed guards. I felt less like a witness and more like a prisoner. They started raiding suspected program houses across 3 states. The news picked it up. Underground network of parents accused of extreme behavior control. Reporters swarmed the streets. Old classmates reached out. People I hadn't heard from in years messaged me, begging for the full story. But I said nothing. Then, just as we were losing hope, a ping came from a desert tower in Nevada. A drone caught someone matching my mom's profile entering a trailer. A tactical team flew out within hours. I waited by the screen, heart racing, praying it wasn't another false lead. The trailer door burst open. It was her. She stood calmly, hands in the air, surrounded by agents in riot gear. Her eyes locked on the camera, like she could see me. They brought her in quietly. No media, no lawyers, just a dim room and the truth. I watched through the two-way mirror, unsure if I felt relief. She looked older, worn down, but not broken. When they slid the flash drive across the table, she didn't flinch. "I knew you'd find me," she said. They offered her a deal. "Help us take down the rest, and we reduce your sentence." She didn't answer, just stared at her reflection. They let me in, face to face. No cameras, just me and her. She looked up, and her eyes softened. "Noah," she said, "you're safe." I sat down across from her. "They took Mason." She nodded slowly. "I know. I tried to stop them. But this thing's bigger than me now. I wanted to save you," she whispered. But I didn't realize how far the others would go. I lost control. I clenched my fists. "They want to silence you," I said. "You have to help stop them." She hesitated. "They won't stop unless I give them something big." I leaned closer. "Then do it. For me. For Mason. For every kid whose life they hijacked." Her eyes filled with tears. She nodded. The next day, she started talking. Names, addresses, codes, locations. The feds were stunned. She knew everything. She had been second in command the entire time. "I never meant for it to get this dark," she told the agents. "It started with love, then turned into something else entirely." Based on her intel, they found Mason within 48 hours chained in a basement in New Mexico. He was weak, but alive. When I saw him, I cried. Mason smiled through cracked lips. "Dude, your mom is terrifying." I laughed through my tears. "You have no idea We hugged like brothers. My mom watched the reunion from a distance, handcuffed and silent. I could see the guilt in her face, but also peace, like she had finally done something right. Court proceedings began quietly. Dozens of parents were arrested across the country. The media storm grew. The Parental Correction Network was what they called it now. Some praised it, some called it evil. Others demanded it be regulated, not destroyed. But for me, it was a nightmare I was finally waking up from. My mom pled guilty to conspiracy, child endangerment, and fraud. But because she helped bring down the others, she was given a reduced sentence 10 years. The day she was transferred, she asked to see me. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said, "but I want you to live." I nodded. "I'm still figuring out how." She placed her hand on the glass. "You already are, Noah. You're free now." I wanted to believe her. Back home, things were quieter but never truly calm. The media eventually moved on, but whispers remained. People looked at me like I was both survivor and traitor. I went back to school part-time, trying to rebuild a routine, but nothing felt normal. I had trust issues, nightmares, and more therapy sessions than I could count. Mason stuck with me. We didn't talk about what happened often, but the way he checked every locked door showed me he hadn't really healed either. One day, during a quiet lunch, he said, "You think she ever thought this would all end like this?" I shook my head. I don't think she cared how. The government offered me a witness protection option, new identity, new life, but I refused. I didn't want to run anymore. I wanted to live as me. I started journaling everything that happened: names, places, emotions, regrets. Mason read one page and said, "Dude, this is a movie." I laughed. It was a horror show. Eventually, a publisher reached out. They had heard rumors. "We want your story," they said. Unfiltered, but true. I hesitated, then said yes. I wrote every night, pouring my trauma into pages. I called the manuscript the grave she dug me out of. It was raw, honest, ugly, real. When the book hit shelves, it exploded. People were furious, emotional, inspired. Some called me brave, others called me selfish. I just called it survival. In her prison cell, my mom got a copy. She sent me a letter. "You told the truth. I'm proud of you." Even if it hurts, I kept the letter but never replied. Maybe someday I'd visit. Maybe not. I needed space to figure out who I was beyond the pain. I joined a youth advocacy group helping kids who survived manipulative parenting. I met others who'd been rescued in twisted ways. We cried, laughed, healed together. One girl had nearly died from a staged overdose. A boy had been taken across borders. My story wasn't the worst, it just had a loud ending. Over time, people stopped whispering my name in the hallway. Teachers treated me like a student again, not a headline. That was the biggest relief of all. On my 18th birthday, I visited the lake house one last time. It was abandoned now, covered in vines, but I needed to face it. I walked through every room, remembering her voice, her lies, her love. She broke me, but she also woke me up. Two truths can exist at once. I found the photo while still there, my picture faded. I tore it down, lit a small fire in the fireplace, and let the past burn. Back home, I finally got into college. Not for business like Dad wanted. For psychology. I wanted to help kids like me, not hurt them. I kept writing too. Stories, memoirs, fiction based on truth. The more I wrote, the more I understood myself not as a victim, but as a survivor. Years passed. The world moved on. So did I. But every year, on the day she died, I lit one candle and sat in silence. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her. I don't know if she'll ever be free again. But I know this: she changed my life forever. Not every story ends with justice or revenge. Some end with healing. And this one, it ended with me finally living my own truth.